All right, good morning. Welcome to the campus of St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire, where we're getting set for the Northeast 10 Cross Country Championship for 2025. I'm Jamie Scavato alongside Ryan Walker. And Ryan, just sort of headline things here. First, the weather's a pretty nice headline. It's absolutely gorgeous. You being a former Franklin Pierce runner yourself, I'm assuming that when you get to this portion of the season, when the conditions are like this, you don't mind going for a run to start off your day.
Oh no, it's absolutely beautiful. The winds, not too strong. Once it gets a little bit colder, the ground gets firmer and it only gets faster. So this is perfect weather.
And I was not originally going to headline with that, but then I looked out the window of this press box and I saw the foliage and I felt the cool fall air and I was like, that's what I want to talk about. Because the weather, it's literally like if the weather could be a pumpkin spice latte, it would be this right here. Anyway, let's turn to the competition. We've got obviously the women's race coming up in just a couple of minutes here. It's going to get started at 11 o'clock, the 6K race. And then the men's race will be going on a little bit later on or in the early afternoon, and they will be running 8K. Now, the women come in as the defending champion. Bentley, the defending team champion. The men's, Southern Connecticut, won their third straight team championship a season ago. Southern Connecticut, heavily favored to win on the men's side. On the women's side, Bentley, 3 of the top 5 runners from last year have moved on. Bentley still brings back a strong contingent of runners, but it really is Southern Connecticut that may have sort of the edge in the team competition and could go for a sweep here this afternoon.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, Southern Connecticut, something about that school, they just know how to win cross-country championships. So, they're looking to bring that energy to the women's side as well, and it looks like they might get it done today.
And not only could they get the team sweep pulled off, but for the first time since 2021 and only the second time in the history of this competition, Southern Connecticut could sweep the whole thing. Favorite on the men's side, or one of the heavy favorites on the men's side, Jonathan Volpe, missed last year's competition due to a foot fracture. He's back, and he's been having a fantastic season, and he's ready to go. And on the women's side, we're going to see in just a few minutes, speaking of back from a bone break, Courtney Henchcliffe back from a broken collarbone from a season ago, and now she is ready to possibly take the mantle as the champion. She's going to have some competition out there as well, but she comes in as a heavy favorite too. And if you're an Owl faithful, you got to love that what's maybe on the table here.
No, definitely. I mean, they've probably been talking about that. When you see it on paper, you always got a goal in mind. But there's a lot of strong women runners in this race that can put up a fight for that individual win.
Yeah, and on the men's side, Southern Connecticut, again, a heavy favorite to take the team competition. But on the women's side, it's not necessarily a slam dunk. You have Bentley, the defending champs, again, bringing back a strong group of runners. Southern New Hampshire brings in a strong group of runners, although they scratched a few at the last minute, which is a little, didn't expect to see that this morning. I'm not going to dig into that just because we don't know what the story is behind that. But St. Anselm coming in with a strong group of runners. Of course, this is their home course, so you get a little bit of a boost from that. And St. Anselm has an outstanding freshman class. A whole bunch of first years are going to be out there, and we'll see if they can maybe hit some PRs and jump up and grab some points in some good spots. And then, of course, you've got Adelphi as well, who's got another good group of runners as they do year after year. As you can see the starting line and things getting ready to go again for the women's race. So, again, Southern Connecticut, favored to win the team competition here in this race, but not necessarily a guarantee, just like Courtney Henchcliffe. Favorite as we get this one underway, but not necessarily a slam dunk. Another runner, the 2022 Rookie of the Year, bronze medalist from a year ago, Corinna Obernesser from Southern New Hampshire, definitely going to give Henchcliffe a run for her money. Also, Fran Peterson of St. Michael's, keep an eye out for her because she has been coming on strong as well, especially this season. Paige Dauphiné, Courtney Henchcliffe's own teammate, could be somebody who could take the gold as opposed to her. And then you got some other runners like Jersey Miller from St. Michael's who we'll be taking a look at here this morning, and Lily Tedford, the indoor Rookie of the Year from this past winter. And she could have a very strong performance as well for Bentley. And you can't count out Lucia Kuttner of Adelphi either, as she was a top 10 finisher a year ago, and she is out there as the top performer for Adelphi for the Panthers. So that's kind of like the quick breakdown of the lineup. You can see the runners running behind the tennis courts. They're going to be going behind our press box here where we are situated. And, again, as we get this underway right now, we may take a look at the course here real quick. Let's sort of let the runners shake out really quick. But the course is an interesting one. And, Ryan, you've run this course before, obviously, as a Northeast 10 competitor yourself. It's a lot of loops around this sort of area around the start-finish line, and then they go out into the woods, and then they come back.
Yeah, I mean, the loops around the fields, it's really nice because it's super flat, it's just some slight rolling hills. But then that wood section's pretty tough. It's a little rocky. There's a big hill, you know. You can start to lose some of your competitors. But this first 1K, you know, you can see everything that's going on, so everybody can still be in the race.
And right now you could see coming around that corner, 1 and 2 of the favorites right out front right away, as it's Courtney Henchcliffe with 1 and Fran Peterson right behind her in second place as we saw them coming around that turn there. Now, Ryan, sometimes in distance races you've got sort of a bunched group and then things start separating. This is turning out a little bit different here right out from the start. You've got Peterson and Henchcliffe going one-on-one, and Paige Dauphiné of Southern Connecticut is right there in third place.
Yeah, no, just make an aggressive move right at the beginning. Sometimes in championship races you see a little bit of strategy going on to kind of pull your teammates with you, but, you know, looks like a battle for two up front, you know. They're going for it, yeah.
This isn't even a bunch at the beginning of this. This is straight up coming with it here again. And again, they are taking loops here. So if you're like, hey, were we just here? Yes, we were just here. By the way, in fourth place, that's Kara Morris. Again, home course, getting a little bit of a boost. Kara Morris is St. Anselm. She is the top runner for the Hawks out of Walpole. The senior finished 45th last year, right now sitting in fourth place. And, again, she's the top representative of that really large Hawk contingent who had the potential to maybe steal some points away from some other runners and maybe jump up, finish third, maybe even second place here today.
Yeah, no, there's a lot, you know, after Southern Connecticut, you know, really anything can happen. So.
And in terms of this, we've had different winners in this event in terms of the team competition each of the last 5 years, if you want to go back to Stonehill, but we won't mention them because they're not around anymore. But you have Bentley winning their first championship last year, Southern Connecticut winning 2 years ago, Southern New Hampshire 3 years ago, and AIC won it 4 years ago. And, of course, AIC winning it 4 years ago as part of that clean sweep of the entire competition and winning the men's race, the women's race, solo, and then, of course, winning both teams' races as well. And that's the only time that's ever happened. It could happen again here today, but as you can see, Southern Connecticut, not the only school that's here. And right now, Courtney Henchcliffe, not the only runner out on the course. She's got company side by side with Fran Peterson from St. Michael's.
No, that's going to be a battle up front. You know, once they get to the woods, it'll be hard to see what's going on, but as soon as they come out, we'll see who's looking good.
And, of course, St. Michael's has never had an Northeast 10, wrong conference, a Northeast 10 cross-country champion, so that would be a first in that program's history as well.
St. Mike's, you know, on the women's and the men's side have really emerged as, you know, a top contender in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good groups of runners from St. Michael's. Coach Molly Peters in her 20th year, 5th year as the men's coach, has depth. And she mentioned the best thing about the men's team is its depth. They've had a different order of finish in each race. Things have been a little more consistent on the women's side, but a very deep roster as well with a lot of runners who can score. Like score well in comparison to runners as well.
But it looks like Henchcliffe, you know, pulling away a little bit, but Peterson still got her in her sight, so see how they respond.
How much of a wild card is it when they finish sort of this looping on the grass and then heading into the woods? How does that changing the terrain like that, how would that maybe change how we see things at the front of the pack?
You know, maybe Henchcliffe knows she's not the best trail/hill runner, so she's trying to make an early move, you know, going into the woods. But it's hard to tell because, I mean, when you're talking about your top runners, they're strong everywhere. So, but it's trying to break her down early, you know, break away, and then.
And Courtney Henchcliffe mentioning breaking her collarbone last fall, and it became kind of a rallying cry for the Owl women for Coach Melissa Stahl-Finaro in her 13th year with the Owls, telling the team, you know, doing it for Court. Do it for Court was the sort of the mantra last year. This year it's the long road back to the top. And the road to the top, it's bound to be bumpy, as is the road to the top of the hill that's going to be coming up behind us. You were mentioning that there's some rocks and stuff on that trail. How does that change how you run as we take a look at the course here? Again, we're going to be getting into the blue portion here, so it'll be circling around those trees, and then they hit that yellow for the third mile, and that's when they really head up into some terrain, correct?
Yeah, it just kind of changes how you maneuver yourself on the course. You know, sometimes you want to stick to the tangents to run the least amount of the course as possible, but when there's a little bit of obstacles, you got to be aware of your surroundings to make sure you're making the right step, because you can roll an ankle, you can hurt yourself. So just got to make sure you're finishing the race as healthy as possible.
And of course, got a nice crowd out here as well. Plenty of people that check out this NE10 Championship. And again, we'll see if Henchcliffe can hang on the rest of the way. Right now, it is quite the separation, though. We are not seeing much of a pack running through here. But again, we'll bring when we get eyes on the front here, the front runners, we'll take a look and see where things are at. But could be an interesting finish here, and again, could be a historic finish for Southern Connecticut, or even it could be a historic finish for St. Mike's if Fran Peterson can come away with the win. Right now, they are 1-2, and they are the runners to watch, and then we'll sort of see how things shake out the rest of the way. We do have live stats, as we do have, we have live numbers in as well. The split after the first mile is in. It is Henchcliffe in first place, Fran Peterson in second, then Peyton Dauphiné in third, Lily Tedford of Bentley, we mentioned her earlier, she's in fourth, Kara Morris in fifth after 1 mile, Jersey Miller of St. Mike's in sixth, and Aaron Sola of Southern Connecticut in seventh. Corinna Obernesser, who we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, in eighth place. Then Samantha Doran of Bentley in ninth, and Paige McInerney of Southern New Hampshire is in 10th place. So that's your top 10. And the way the points kind of shaking out now after the first mile, Southern Connecticut in first place, St. Anselm in second, St. Mike's is in third. So there you go. There's that bump from St. Anselm that we kind of talked about at the beginning of this thing. If you were sort of playing out the times or seed times, even if you adapt those 5K times and personal bests and stuff like that, St. Anselm probably like in fourth or fifth place if you go by that. But right now, after 1 mile on their own course, they're sitting in second.
And something I'm noticing, St. A's has their top 7 in front of Southern Connecticut's 5. So if they can move up well and displace those runners from Southern Connecticut, they can really give themselves a chance to take this team title.
And possibly pull off the upset. Hey, I said that Southern Connecticut's were the favorite. I said it wasn't a slam dunk. And right now it's not looking like it. After 1 mile, it's, 16 points separating them. I mean, that's not a lot, right?
No. And not when, if you keep an eye on the 5th runner from Southern Connecticut, that's 29. St. A's got their 7th runner in at 26, so if they just keep moving up and that runner goes back, St. A's can really, start to cement themselves closer.
And right now we are sort of taking a look at the pack coming through here, as you've got a bunch of runners coming through that turn.
Yeah, I missed the lead runner. I think it was Henchcliffe, though, still in front, so.
At the split, Henchcliffe had, pretty sizable lead, too. About almost a 3-second lead,
Yeah.
2.5 second lead over Peterson. When we were using our eyes looking at it, though, it didn't seem like that long of a lead, but that's kind of what it's at. And then, obviously, it's a pretty big drop-off from there as well to Peyton Dauphiné. And then after that, it's a lot of separation out there on the course. But there's also plenty of race to go. I mean, you're a quarter of the way through the race, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, but after 4th place, there's a big pack right there. So there can be a lot of movement, a lot of shaking up of the scores. So when we get to the next checkpoint, we'll see how it's affecting the team scores.
I mean, you've got the glory of the individual championship, but that team race really does take place in that pack, and it does take place where those runners are sort of slotting in and out.
Yeah, that's kind of the glorious thing about cross country. Like, you train every day with your teammates. You put in a lot of miles. You really get to know them. So it becomes more – people don't really view it as a team sport, but it really is because,
Henchcliffe's lead has gotten a lot bigger.
Oh, yeah. No.
You don't even see anyone behind her yet.
No.
That was a surprise because obviously they went out of our camera view for a moment there. Now you see Fran Peterson still in second place. So not a lot has changed as these runners are coming through. And then there's that pack, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That has bunched up a little bit because it seemed like there was a separation there between third place and even fourth place. And now that's kind of bunched right up. And again, as they were coming through, you saw their back. So I'm not gonna speculate as to who's in what place when you got a pack of like 6 runners coming through. But again, it's Henchcliffe right now. It is Peterson in second, and then it's everybody else. But that everybody else is where the team title is going to be decided. And right now, after 1 mile at least, it was very much in the air. So we'll see when they get to the 2 mile mark where things are at. And that's going to be pretty interesting. And we're almost at that point, I would say. We've got to be getting there any moment now. We'll get the splits for the 2nd mile, I would assume. yeah, still looking on that here, but we are getting close, that's for sure. Still waiting to see Henchcliffe to hit the 2.8 mark is where we're going to get our next split here.
Yeah, it should be coming in soon. They're doing 6K, so
Yep.
just under halfway. So
when we get close to the halfway point, we will have a read on how much Henchcliffe is in front. I'd be shocked if she wasn't still up there. Obviously, last year, winner came from St. Anselm, the home here, but it was, of course, Franklin Pierce who was hosting last year's race. But Angelina Martinez, the winner for St. Anselm a year ago.
And that was kind of an interesting race as well because the lead runner went down with about 200 meters left, and then St. A's came in and stole that title.
And by the way, Henchcliffe, if she comes away with the win today, it'll be the first Southern Connecticut runner to win since 2009. Going back to Laura Brustelone of Southern Connecticut, who was the winner back when they were still doing 5K. So Southern Connecticut's the Owls have never had a 6K cross country champion.
Well, they might just have that today, so we'll see what happens.
That's we'll see. Right now, definitely the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, and the leader on the course as well. And right now it is still, as they hit the 2.8 mark, it is Henchcliffe with a sizable lead over Fran Peterson in second place for St. Michael's. Peyton Dauphiné of the Owls in third place, and you got Lily Tedford of Bentley in fourth, Aaron Sola of Southern Connecticut in fifth. So that is your top five, but it is a crazy bunch. If you go down, you've got your split at 10:53.8 at the 2.8 mark, then 11:07.6 at the for Fran Peterson, 11:15 for Peyton Dauphiné in the 30 spot, and then it is the next group of runners. As we take a look up front here, you can see there's Dauphiné down in third as you had Fran Peterson and Courtney Henchcliffe go through, and you're going to see the pack coming up here. And it's a tight pack from Lily Tedford, Aaron Sola, Samantha Doran, Corinna Obernesser, Jersey Miller. It is a group of 5 runners all battling for that number 4 spot. And there's a lot of points, obviously, up for grabs, and there are a lot by meaning a few because obviously the lower score wins. And here's that pack right here.
Yeah, and they're all from different teams. We got the 2 Bentley runners, but then the Southern Connecticut and the SNU runner too. So, it's going to come down to a battle. Who wants it more?
That is Lily Tedford in the 4 spot right now, I believe. But, yeah, you got another Bentley runner, and there's Samantha Doran in that mix, and then Aaron Solo of Southern Connecticut. As we will take a look here, standings after or basically around the halfway point, it is still Southern Connecticut leading the way. In there with 46 points now, and that lead is extended over St. Anselm now. It's 46-88.
Wow.
So
I was not expecting that. I wasn't sure how it was going to shake out on the next split, but, bit of negative movement. So Southern Connecticut really pulling ahead in the team score.
Negative movement in terms of the points, but still St. Anselm sitting in second place. Meanwhile, Southern New Hampshire up to third place. Bentley is up to fourth. St. Michael's dropping down to fifth place. Then you got Adelphi in sixth and Assumption in seventh. So those are where we're at in terms of the team score right now. And it is kind of shaking out to Southern Connecticut being dominant in that category, also shaking out to Courtney Henchcliffe being dominant in a solo capacity as well. And really Southern Connecticut doing with runners in first place, third place, fifth place, also 10th place. And then your next Owl competitor after that is down in 27th place. But still, that's a pretty good lineup right there for a championship race.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, they got 3 of their runners in before St. A's won. So, that's really hard to beat. But this race for second, the 2 through 5 are within 6 points of each other. So anything can happen with that. It's going to be a tight battle.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were anticipating. Yeah. Thought maybe things would be a little bit closer for Southern Connecticut, but right now, I mean, the Owls dominating, and that's looking for the second championship in program history. But the thing is, there hasn't. What's funny is no current member of the Northeast 10 has more than one team cross-country championship on the women's side. So Southern Connecticut looking to make all kinds of history today. And the Owls could also make history in becoming the first women's program, or at least in the current group of NE10 schools, to have more than one women's team championship. So that's also on the table here today. So there's a whole lot going on out there on this course as we take a look at the hills. That's a nice shot right there.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Nice, beautiful fall day.
I was telling producer Justin, it was like you're out here. Well, first of all, you don't know what town you're in. Technically, we're standing in Bedford, but if I take a look over to my left, it's Goffstown, and then there's Manchester right over there. So we're kind of at the intersection of three different towns. But aside from that, it's hard to believe that Manchester, New Hampshire is just like right over the hill, like the heart of it. As we're out here on this just beautiful campus here at St. Anselm. It's awesome accommodations here. As we get around, approaching the 17-minute mark in this race, we're getting close to the home stretch here. And that's that hill you were talking about that was a bear. You can see him going up it right now.
Yeah, it's just long. It's not the steepest hill, but you're just on it for a while. Then it opens up in the field again, so you can kind of see how far back you are, It's a little bit of a mental battle. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that changed the standings at all, too, because we were kind of looping around in sort of a flat area of the course. Then you hit the hills, and you mentioned, before the race, we talked about a little bit here, is like things get a little bit rocky in there. So then, that could change some things up as well, and we'll see if that has any effect on the team standings.
But finishing on the fields, this is really well maintained, so you can really rip that last 1K.
And, of course, we will not have any updates in terms of standings aside from the visuals that we have until we get to the finish line here in a few minutes. So it'll be exciting to see how this race completes. But right now it is definitely coming up for the Owls here.
Curious to see how much more of a lead Henchcliffe gets. It went from 3 seconds to about 14 on that second split. So.
Yeah, she's been pulling away. I mean, I knew she'd be a favorite in this race. I didn't know how heavy.
Yeah.
I thought she might win by like 4 or 5 seconds, but winning by double-digit seconds, that's clearly a competitor who's coming back from an injury and is ready to go.
No, definitely.
And that is Henchcliffe coming down the hill while a whole bunch of runners are going up the hill, and she is all alone coming down that hill.
No, it's her race to lose. But with the cross times, it's really hard to get an estimate of where everyone's going to be on the same course because every course is different. You can have a season's best and then never break it again on a different course just due to the hills, the terrain, everything. So cross is hard to get an estimate for what you're going to run.
Well, according to Courtney's coach, she makes a mean chocolate chip cookie, so hopefully there's a batch waiting for her at the finish line if she can finish this thing off, because she will have earned it here. The senior out of Newtown, Connecticut, and again, broken collarbone last fall, missed out on the championships, came back, missed the indoor season as well, came back in time for the outdoor championships and came away a champion, winning the 5K. Actually, she did finish in second place. She was around for the indoor. She finished second in the 5K in the indoor, then won the 5K in the outdoor. So she came into this season with a full head of steam and, of course, with a functioning collarbone. As you see Fran Peterson there in second place. But she's got company as now you've got PJ Dauphiné catching up.
Yeah, she moved up very well through that second loop, made it a close race for second. So see if that momentum carries her through this last portion of the race.
And we get a look in fourth place. That is Lily Tedford of Bentley.
I believe it was Obernesser from SNU right behind her with another Bentley runner.
Yeah, as they are again coming down towards the home stretch. And this does look like a little bit of a tougher part of the course here. You can see some of the runners laboring here as they get kind of around that, especially that berm right there.
Yeah, just those small little rolling hills. You get up a big one, you got to surge through it, but that's where it's just a really mentally tough sport. You can have the same physical fitness, but if you have that mental edge over somebody, you're going to win. So.
And right now, I'd say the mental and physical edge going the way of Courtney Henchcliffe, and of course Fran Peterson is running a heck of a race too. Be interesting to see if we get any PRs out of this today as well. I think sometimes when you get to championship time, I think the runners start maybe canceling each other out a little bit, or just the actual competition itself. The times become more competitive as opposed to like runners going for records. But in this case, not like PRs, not course records or meet records. But in this case, you've got Courtney Henchcliffe, who's all on her own. I mean, her personal best in the 6K is 22:03.6. I mean, depending on where she's at, I mean, she'd have to finish in a minute here. But she is definitely on her way down the stretch. Is probably about a minute to go.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about, championship races being a little competitive, but nope, this was going for gold, we should say, yeah.
Yeah, this is more of a coronation than a competition, and you got to give all the credit to Courtney Henchcliffe, again, coming back from injury to absolutely dominate this 8K race as she is in the home stretch. I mean, we saw soccer fields and tennis courts, and now we see her coming around the backside of the tennis courts here. So Courtney Henchcliffe is on her way to the finish line.
Yeah, not going to be a PR, but definitely a commanding win. So
absolutely, as now she comes around that back turn. Now we see her. There she goes by the building, and now we've actually got physical. I've got a physical look at her here as she's coming around that final turn. And no, it won't be a PR for Courtney Henchcliffe, and wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting this dominant a victory, but you know what? That's what we've got. Here comes Courtney Henchcliffe. She will be your 2025 Northeast 10 Women's Cross Country Champion. Back through that stretch now, and there's the final turn.
Yeah, hopefully we can see the 2-3 runners coming through because that was becoming a tight battle. So
That did tighten up quite a bit, and here comes Henchcliffe. We got to look at her coming towards the finish line. She is on her own. And she's been on her own since right around the beginning of the race, wire to wire. Courtney Henchcliffe comes away with the championship for Southern Connecticut, the first Owl to win the women's 6K race since it switched to 6K, and the first Northeast 10 women's solo champion since 2009. And now we wait, because that's how much of a win that was, as we will now get the second place finisher coming around here. Looks like Peterson fell back a bit as coming across the line in second. That was Peterson coming across in second. Correction. So PJ Dauphiné coming in third. Fran Peterson of St. Michael's finishing in second place. So a big win for the Purple Knights as well. We talked about how that program's been coming on so strong lately the last couple of years. I mean, you got a great coach at the helm there, Molly Peters. Of course, a lot of the runners on St. Mike's are also on the Nordic ski team as well for St. Mike's, because that's how they do things up in Vermont.
Nordic's tough. I knew a lot of cross runners that did Nordic too, and that's a really taxing sport. So, it translates very well to the cross country course.
Yeah, up there it's a hobby. It's not even like a thing. It's just a thing that you do. Snowshoeing, cross country skiing, whatever. There's obviously the downhill aspect as well. PJ Dauphiné of Southern Connecticut coming in third. Lily Tedford of Bentley, the Rookie of the Year from the indoor, coming in fourth place. Samantha Doran of Bentley coming in fifth place. And then you got Corinna Obernesser of Southern New Hampshire, your sixth place finisher. Aaron Sola of Southern Connecticut, your seventh place finisher. Jersey Miller of St. Mike's, nice finish for the Purple Knights, coming in eighth place. Abigail Bajorek of Southern Connecticut coming in ninth place. And Kara Morris of St. Anselm, the home team, coming in 10th place.
Have to see where Southern's fifth runner comes in. They already got 4 in the top 10.
I know, it's crazy getting 4 in the top 10. I mean, you get there, you pretty much won it, right? Mm-hmm. Bentley getting 3 runners in the top 10 as well, though, or top 11. Molly Capiche coming in 11th place for the Falcons, and Paige McInerney for Southern New Hampshire is the second finisher. And you get Jillian Olson of St. Anselm. So they've got 2 in the books. Lucia Kuttner, mentioned her earlier, out of Adelphi. First runner across for the Panthers. And now Emily Oliver for Assumption, the first Greyhound to come across the line. As they will continue to finish here. Maya Suarez of Adelphi. Adelphi's got a really good group of runners. They're not up near the front, but they got a really good pack of runners. And we may see them all kind of come one after the other here. Southern New Hampshire's Deidre Baylat coming in 17th. Charlotte Perro of Assumption coming in 18th. Meredith Riley of St. Mike's is 19th. Christina Sekelis of Adelphi in 20th. Sophia Olson of St. Anselm coming in 21st. And Maya Fisher of Southern Connecticut, the 5th runner to come over the line for the Owls. St. Anselm coming in with a 5th runner as well, and 6th and 7th. There's that group of Hawks I was telling you about. They had so many runners in the field.
And 7.
Brenna Woodbury, Sadie White, Eva Tynan, Julia Parsons, Faith Perry in for Southern New Hampshire, Abby Bemis in for St. Anselm, Riley Burnham in for St. Michael's. So, again, the runners are starting to come across here. It looks like St. Anselm might have made the leapfrog up, taking advantage of the home course and the big pack of really talented runners. Looks like they came away with the 2 spot. Actually, no, St. Mike's coming away with the 2 spot.
Yeah, it'll be hard to tell because
they still got to get some more finishers across.
Yeah,
here.
they don't take into consideration the differences for the teams that haven't got all 5 in. But
right.
No, it's gonna be close because they were all just coming in right at the same time. So.
Yeah, it's ticking it. So St. Mike's and St. Anselm right there, 2nd. There's Southern New Hampshire at 3rd. We knew they would be in the mix for that 2 spot. It's definitely gonna be Southern Connecticut winning the whole thing. Again, we take a look at the top 10 here as runners are still coming across, and we'll wait till we've got sort of a more accurate read on the thing. But let's get that top 10 up on the screen one more time here. So we can run it down. Again, Courtney Henchcliffe of Southern Connecticut, your winner by a lot, 22:49.3 her time. Fran Peterson of St. Mike's, 23:21.4, coming in 2nd place for the Purple Knights. And P.J. Dauphiné of Southern Connecticut, 23:26.2 in 3rd place. Lily Tedford of Bentley, 4th place, 23:47.1. And it was Samantha Dorn of Bentley, 23:49.3. Rest of the top 10, Corinna Obernesser of Southern New Hampshire, Erin Sola of Southern Connecticut, Jersey Miller of St. Mike's, Abigail Bajorek of Southern Connecticut, and Kara Morris of St. Anselm. And we are still sort of adding up the points here. But Pace is the only team that doesn't have all 5 in. So it looks like, wow, Bentley coming in 2nd. How about that? That was a surprise.
Yeah, I know. I mean, those 4 or 5 up front, that really was big for them.
Yeah, they got those. Yeah, they got a couple in the top 5 up there, and that really made the difference. But St. Anselm, good showing, coming in with 92 points. So things actually worked out. I would say that maybe the biggest surprise in that top 5 from team perspective, Southern New Hampshire falling down to 5th. We kind of knew that they would take a tumble. They did scratch some runners at the last minute, a couple of really competitive runners. Again, and hopefully everything's okay on that point with that team, because you hate seeing runners that you're expecting to see and bib numbers and all, and then suddenly they're not in the field. But either way, you knew that would open up the door for somebody else to sort of battle for 2nd place, right? Goes to defending champs Bentley, and that was part of the goal. For Coach Kevin Curtin in his 15th year, sort of realizing that the women's side lost 3 of their 5 finishers from top 5 finishers from a year ago. They were kind of gunning for 2nd, and they got it. So the defending champs coming in 2nd place, which is kind of where they wanted to end up. St. Mike's, again, moving up the table, so to speak. Really strong 3rd place finish for the Purple Knights. And if you're Coach Molly Peters, you got to like that finish, especially with the guys coming up. Could be a good banner day all around for St. Mike's. And St. Anselm, the home team, it's sort of finishing where you thought they would in 4th place. I kind of had them in that 100-point range, 105 points is where I kind of had them at. 92 is where they came in, so maybe outperforming a little bit, but strong showing. And really, the headline for the Hawks is that that's a team that's going to be on the rise over the next few years with all the first-year runners. It's going to be impressive to see what this team is able to do for Brian Stankiewicz, and of course in his 8th year with the program here. But the largest freshman class ever. All top 3 runners from last year moving on, and obviously that large freshman class representing here, coming in 4th place. Southern New Hampshire, again, down in 5th place, but again, a strong showing for the runners that were out on the course here today. Of course, you had, you got your 6th place finisher there with Corinna Obernesser. So that is the runners coming in. We've got ourselves a champion, and it's Southern Connecticut on the team side. And you got ourselves an emphatic champion, Courtney Henchcliffe of Southern Connecticut, the senior out of Newtown, Connecticut, with a fully working, healed collarbone, and out there with a dominant performance here this morning to get things started at the Northeast 10 Cross Country Championship. So we'll take a look here at more of the runners coming across the finish line, the rest of the pack coming through. Meantime, I'm Jamie Scavato alongside Ryan Walker. We're going to take a bit of a break. When we come back, it will be time for the men's race, and that men's race is going off at, I think, 12:15. Is that 12:15? I should have had that locked in my brain, in which case I was like, I didn't write it down. Anyway, 12:15. We'll check in a few minutes before that. We'll get you around 12:10 or so. Thanks for tuning in, though, to the women's side of things, and come back for the men's side. Again, I'm Jamie Scavato alongside Ryan Walker. You are watching the Northeast 10 Cross Country Championships from St. Anselm College.
have much slack, so when I started twisting, I got like caught.
Oh, right.
So then I started trying to like get myself some more slack.
Yeah. You definitely can pull quite a bit more up
Okay.
if you want, if that's easier.
Yeah.
If you need to just disconnect it real quick to re-untangle, go for it.
Yeah, I might just pull.
I guess whenever you do, if you are moving around with the tripod, just keep an eye on the bubble.
Yeah, no, I got